Happy Friday, Floss Tube. It is Friday, September 6th, and today's stitching is going to be very boring because I'm simply going to be working on this band right in here. So beautiful color, and you can look at the pretty designs that I've got going on here, but yeah, the actual stitching I'm going to be doing today is a little bit dull. But I've made myself a promise, and I'm not taking this off my floor frame until this band is complete. So that's the goal. This is Twisted Band Sampler by Northern Expressions Needlework, and I'm doing my own color conversion. It's not actually my color conversion. I stole it from my good friend Audrey, and I'm using exactly the same colors that she used on hers. Its original was the rainbow version. I'm sure most of you have seen that. And so the Dinky Dyes that I'm using, these are colors. So in order, I started off with, where is it? This one here. Boulia. So Boulia is actually this band, the one that I'm doing right now. The richer purple here is Orchid. The variegated one that's coming up next, pinks and purples, that is Amethyst. And then the beauty of the bunch, the prom queen of the bunch, is Ocean Grove. And that's got that beautiful teal mixed in with that purple there. So those are the color variations. I will list those in the drop down box below as well. I bought these a few years back, so I'm hoping that this is enough to do the entire project, because, well, if it's not, I'm out of luck. I'll have to get creative if I run out. But such is the way when you're working on projects that you started yonks and yonks ago. What else can I tell you about this? I'm stitching this on a 32 count white even weave and 2 strands of thread over 2. And I'm doing the rest of, other than the color change, it's the cross stitch version, clearly, not the specialty stitch version. So I think that's all the pertinent information about the piece. I have been looking forward to doing this video all week. Been super excited about sitting down to record this one, because last week I talked a little bit about my plans for trying to do a little bit more cooking from scratch and all of the fall recipes that I was looking forward to trying. My friend Dawn messaged me. There's a cookbook that she's enamored with at the moment, and I know my mom bought this cookbook recently as well, and also I think felt the same way as Dawn, that the majority of the recipes in it were very accessible and earmarked for future use. And it's a Canadian, these were the Looney Spoon sisters, Canadian, Greta and Janet, I'm going to butcher their last name, Podoletsky, is that right? 2 Canadian sisters who a number of years ago came out with a couple of cookbooks called the Looney Spoons, and based on a little more healthy sort of cooking, and focusing on colors and vibrant textures and sort of little lighter fare. So one of the sisters, and I should have looked this up, I think it was Janet, I could be wrong, but one of the one of the Looney Spoon sisters has put out a new cookbook, and how new it is, it's at least a couple months old now, called Yum and Yummer. And so with Dawn's recommendation, this is now the second time I've heard about this cookbook, first time being from my mom, and I definitely want to track that down. But it made me start thinking about, what cookbooks I used to use all the time. And I remembered an old favorite, and I hadn't thought about this cookbook in years, but it's, again, another Canadian sort of standard, the Harrowsmith cookbooks. And Harrowsmith, I believe, started out as a magazine, Canadian magazine, back in the 70s or 80s. And then they put out a 3-volume set of their most popular editor and reader recipes. And then in 1996, they compiled all 3 of those volumes into one cookbook. Now, my mother had the 3-volume set, and I can remember as a teenager just pouring through those cookbooks because the recipes in them were all so delicious sounding and, fairly straightforward for a basic cook. I know I mentioned last week, I don't tend to usually follow recipes. I take recipes and I generally follow them the first couple of times, and then I find myself sort of tweaking them, and then, a few years later, I find I'm making a variation on whatever it was that I found. But so anyways, I pulled that cookbook out and I dusted it off. My mother gifted this to me the Christmas after we got married in 1996, and that was actually when this volume came out. So, a complete Harrowsmith cookbook, and you can see at the bottom all 3 Harrowsmith cookbooks in one volume. It is a hefty book, and you can still find them on Amazon. I did check. And so I know this is awfully close. Let's see, I'm going to back up my stitching and then maybe you can see this a little bit better. And you've got my light in the top there. But anyways, that's what it looks like. It's chock-a-block full, over 1,800 recipes in here, all of them tried and true. And they're from people all across Canada. So, you can see each recipe has its own author, and these were sent in from all across Canada. And these recipes are sort of their family favorites. And so it reminds me of a huge sort of, church cookbook, or one of those cookbooks that, an organization would put together with all of its members' tried and true recipes for a fundraiser. And that's exactly what this book is, kind of. It reminds me a lot of that. And the recipes in here are amazing. So I started flipping through, and I remembered that my banana muffin recipe is in here. It's this one right here. So it's from Coyle in Fergus, Ontario. And I have been making these muffins since 1996. And you may remember I spoke back in the summer. We'd made some banana bread and I'd put chocolate chips in it, or John had put chocolate chips in it. He made it that time. And I had a comment from Elizabeth, who was horrified that we'd put chocolate chips in our banana bread. Well, let me tell you, why wouldn't you put chocolate chips in your banana bread? It's delicious. But it's not actually a banana bread recipe that we use. It's this one for these muffins. And we make these as both muffins, or we'll chuck it in a bundt pan and make a bundt cake with it, or we'll chuck it in a loaf pan and make, a banana loaf using the exact same recipe. But she's got 1 cup of mashed bananas here. I use 4 really ripe bananas, medium medium-sized bananas. I don't measure out a cup, and I probably have more than a cup with those 4 bananas. But the rest of the ingredients are exactly the same. So what I'll do is I will copy out Anne's recipe in the drop-down box below, and maybe you'll try it out too. Yes, it's got quite a bit of sugar and butter, but that's why we tend to eat these kind of as desserty things or an after-school treat. And I'll tell you, Nicholas inhales them. And I found this was kind of my bookmark that I'd used all those years ago, and I thought, why did I have this in there? And then I flipped through and I remembered it had this adorable sugar cookie snail recipe that I thought, oh, I should try making those for the kids. Never happened, but at least I still have it in there, right? The other recipe that was in here that I was reminded of was this Boulia base, Haddington Reef Boulia base. I haven't made this probably since we lived in our first house 18 years ago. And I haven't made it since then. And it's so good. It's so, so good. I think I stopped making it because it was getting harder to find cod. And I would just use frozen cod, bought at the grocery store in the freezer case. But I think I had trouble finding cod for a while. And so the recipe kind of fell out of rotation. But I'm thinking I might try this one, bring that back. So anyways, I'll tell you what I find, see how it goes. Anyways, that's a cookbook I highly recommend. All right, here we go. Back to business here. There we go. So I've been so excited to share that with you. Isn't that funny? When you have something that from your past that you kind of forgot about, and then you're reminded about it and you get excited about it all over again. That's kind of how I felt about that cookbook. So it's been a busy week here. Been a very busy week. And so a little bit of an Evertote update. So if you're not interested in project bags, just keep on stitching. And I'm just gonna briefly talk about what I've been up to this week. Most of you know that I have a project bag business that I've been running over on Etsy for the last couple of years, evertote.com. And this week I closed that shop down and I've reopened over through a Shopify platform. So the web address is still the same, still www.evertote.com, except now it shuffles you over to the Shopify page. So technically I have a new shop, kind of. I mean, it's still the same shop because it's still the same stuff in there, but it was like a little magic trick that took about 24 hours to take care of, but I moved the shop over. So as a little celebration, I have 15% off in the shop right now for everything that I moved over from the Etsy shop. So the rest of the summer kits that I have with Creative Curators scissor fobs, chainmail scissor fobs, and all of the leftover, I still have a few of those really sweet strawberry print bags, and well, basically anything that was still in the shop as of Wednesday morning is up for sale for 15% off. The Halloween bags and the large handle bags will be in the shop on Monday, and I'll have a little bit more information on that on Monday Floss Tube. And if you would like a Halloween bag, but you're also interested in one of the bags that are on sale, I'm more than happy to combine orders. So if you go in and, order something that's on sale and then come back on Monday or Tuesday and buy one of the new bags, I will happily combine the order and refund the shipping on the second one. I can combine shipping on those. And that's it. So thank you for humoring me for a little work update there, but I wanted to mention that there was the 15% off. So yeah, moving that over to Shopify was a little stressful. I think all of us who are not technologically minded, those kinds of things can be very frightening. This is giving me a little bit of trouble here. A little bit frightening, but once we put our persistent hat on, and I will also admit a few cups of rather strong coffee, and get it done. So I'm sure that there will probably be a few things that I have not done perfectly that I will have to tweak over the coming weeks, but I think overall I'm fairly pleased. I'll tell you one thing, and my photography has never been great, but the quality on what they upload, what you can upload, it's really, it shows everything. So I'm going to have to work on improving the quality of my photographs. I'm just, it's not a strong suit for me. That's for sure. And you can tell my lighting is bad, especially those, I really struggled with those, that pink lamb fabric, the cute little lambs. I cannot get the color of those bags correctly. And it's a shame because they're really sweet, but they just don't show very well. The other one, the summer kit bags. The summer kit bags, let me tell you, they look 100% better in real life than the photographs. So I really should try to retake some photos of those. But anyways, enough of that. So yeah, cooking. Also, fall is that time where I start to feel like it's time to rent a dumpster and a shovel and, clear out the house, become a minimalist. And then I laugh and go and look at my stash, and I think, yeah, I'm never going to be a minimalist. I'm okay with that. But it is time to give it a good tidy. So my big plans for tonight are stitching. I am doing the full-on Friday party. So hopefully while this is up and you're visiting with me, I'm doing the same thing you are. I'm stitching. And tonight, I've already got my stitching ready to go downstairs so that when 6 o'clock hits, I'm going to feed Nicholas a little bit early. John is up at the cottage this weekend. He has to take the boat. He has to take the boat up to the place where, this is a story. If you've been around here for a little while, you may remember that not just this summer. Is this right? What is going on here? There we go. Not this summer, but last summer, we had a bit of trouble with the engine on our boat. A couple of times, and it made us more than a little bit. We were quite nervous about the engine on our boat, that, we would get stranded somewhere. And because I've mentioned Georgian Bay is a little bit temperamental, you want to have something that you can count on, and not be, stuck out in the middle. Anyways, especially me, I'm a bit of a nervous Nelly on the boat. So this year we invested in a new motor for the boat, and it was also my husband's big birthday present. So he's happy, and that was definitely an investment that we needed. But you have to, like all investment things that you have, like your house or your car, things need maintenance. So the motor, apparently after the initial excuse me, initial number of hours of use, it needs to go in for a service, just like a car would. So John has to get the boat out of the water on the trailer, and then he's got to trailer it up to the place where he bought the motor and have them service it. So that's what he's up to this weekend. And of course, he's going to visit his dad, and his dad stays up there for about 6 months. He's up there from about May until mid to end October, and then he'll come back home to London as well. But anyways, so it's just Nicholas and I here this weekend, and that means that we can have a bowl of popcorn for dinner and maybe a few vegetables as well. I do try to make sure he eats his vegetables, but something simple and easy and fun, and we'll just keep it simple. Maybe watch a movie together tonight and stitch, stitch, stitch. The projects that I have lined up for tonight are, remember the warm winter woolens, the Little House Needleworks one? My goal is to finish the snow, and I want to get the sheep's legs stitched and start her rump. The back side of the sheep is all in this one beautiful, beautiful color. It's like I can't remember the name of it. It's a Weeks Dye Work. Is it Gentle Arts? I can't remember. But it's beautiful. No, it's Little House Needleworks, so it's Classic Colorworks, isn't it? That's right. But that's what I'm going to do for part of the night tonight. And then I've also got Savon out for later in the evening when I start to get a little tired, because I've got some nice 310 fill-in work that I can do on that tonight. And that's the plan. Recording the Fire Friends podcast today with Adrian and Louise. They're coming here around noon today to record. It's been a while since we've gotten together, so I'm really looking forward to seeing them. And I'll let you in on a little secret. I finished my sock. Remember on Monday I showed you my sock that I was almost on the toe? Well, I finished it. And I'm rather notorious for never having finishes, which I'm sure you know. I tend to like big projects, and I am not monogamous, so I rarely have big finishes, but I'm going to surprise them today with a finished sock. So I'm kind of chuffed about that. That'll be good. Isn't this pretty? I totally meant to come up here and do some of the darker purple, but I'm so close to finishing this one band of it that I'm going to do that first and then carry on. It is starting to cool down out there. It's only going up to about 21 degrees Celsius today. It's only about 16 degrees now. I'm sorry, I can't convert that in my head to Fahrenheit. Oh, and that reminds me, speaking of conversion, one of the things that I needed help with when I was setting up the Shopify site, and I had to spend a little bit of time with their tech support. When you go onto the new site, if you are not Canadian, you are going to think that I have really, really, really raised my prices. And you're going to think, what the heck is she thinking? That is not the case. It's simply that when you initially visit my site, because I'm Canadian and I sell my products in Canadian dollars, when you first load the site, you're going to see my prices in Canadian dollars. And what you need to do is in the top right corner, there is a little toggle button that has a little currency converter, and it's a little drop-down box. And if you go up there and you drop down the currency converter box, you can convert all of my prices to your own currency. So if you're American, then you'll be able to see my prices really are exactly the same as they were. I haven't raised them, not even $1. The prices are exactly the same. It's just that Etsy used to convert it automatically, depending on where you were browsing from, or your past search history, or past purchase history, etc., etc. And so that's why this is a little different. I couldn't get that to happen automatically. So don't be shocked when you see the prices. I promise. They're really not different. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. Now, the darker purple is the Orchid. I have a little teeny bit left. Where did it go? There it is. No, that's not it. Where the heck did it go? Did I already take it off? Need a better system, don't I? There it is. I knew it was there. I have this one that's got just a little bit left on it. I was going to try and use that up first. These rings. Oops. There we go. There. Okay. So it's time to work with a bit brighter purple, I think. Finish up this little bit of Orchid. So this is Orchid, right? Yes. Orchid. Such a vibrant purple. I think this one, when I'm finished this, I think this may be the piece that I use to learn how to lace. Because, well, I don't know why exactly, but I just feel like this is the one that I want to learn on. I don't know why. I should probably start with a small one, but I don't usually do things in a small way, do I? It's got straight lines, so I think it would be a really good learning experience to have to get everything straight. And am I going to frame it myself? I don't know. I don't know if I'm that brave, though I've heard it's not that hard. I mean, it's not that it's not hard, but that I believe that I have the wherewithal that I could figure it out. But do I want to? I don't know. Would save a lot of money, wouldn't it? All right, where am I going here? Because of the angle of the camera and how high this is up, it's quite far away from my face. So, how far away am I? I don't want to be there. I'm okay. All right. There. Take my first stitch, and I'm set up. There. I'm set up for later tonight. Because I'm going to have to call it. I've got some work to do before the girls get here to record. I've got some sewing to do, and I want to tidy up the area that we're going to record in, and I definitely think I need another cup of coffee. So I'm going to say goodbye, and happy Friday, and happy weekend, and I hope you're having a really relaxing evening filled with crafty goodness. And I will see you on Monday for Monday Floss Tube. Happy stitching, everybody.